The Louvre is the most visited art museum in the whole world and a must-do item for many visitors. Here you'll find over 35,000 pieces of art in 3 giant buildings and multiple floors, and if you lined up all of the galleries into one line, it would be over 8 miles long. If you spent your whole Paris vacation inside the Louvre, you still wouldn't see it all. As locals, we've had the luxury of visiting the museum multiple times, and each time we discover new amazing things, and we still get lost. If you're like most people and you only have a few hours to spend in the Louvre, you want to make the most of it. Today, we booked a private tour guide to skip the line and walk us through the top pieces of art and some new hidden gems, so you can get the most out of your Louvre visit in under 3 hours. Allez, on y va. Bonjour, Walid.
Bonjour. I'm really good, and you?
Excellent. I'm very excited to have you take us through the Louvre today.
Well, me too. It's my favorite museum in Paris,
Oh,
which
cool.
is a bit cliche to say, but you have so many things inside that I'm excited to show you.
I have to ask you before we go in, what are the entrances to the Louvre?
Alors, you have 4 entrances.
Okay.
The first one would be the pyramid, which is the main one, where you have 2 times, the o'clock and the half.
Okay.
And then you have the Porte des Lions, which is a bit hidden, and I think we guys like to keep it hidden. Just, you see, you have 2 angels on this wing, the second one on the right, and that's where the Porte des Lions is.
Okay.
Porte des Lions is a great entrance, however, you have no cloakroom and you can't bring large umbrellas, and it's closed on Friday, so that's important to know. And then you have Le Carrousel, which is below, and I find personally that the pyramid is often faster than the other entrances. And then you have Richelieu, which is the entrance for the groups, so with guides.
And that's the one over there, right here, right?
Exactly, that's through the arch over there. So I would say if you want to just see the Mona Lisa real quick and exit the museum, go through Porte des Lions, see the Mona Lisa, exit. If you want a proper longer tour, enter through the pyramid.
Perfect. Today we're going through Richelieu.
Exactly.
Awesome, let's go.
All right.
So why is this your favorite museum?
It's my favorite museum because it's not just a museum, it was a palace before. It used to be a fortress even before that. And that's what I love. You have very few museums like this where you have the history of the museum itself in the place, and that could take hours. And then you have all the amazing artworks. We're going to start off with Mesopotamia, which is my favorite part. And then we'll try to do something quite chronological and advance through the Greek period, the Renaissance, and we'll end up with the French paintings.
Basically, what I heard you say is there's so much more to the Louvre than just the art that people know about.
Exactly. First thing, you have a cloak room here, le vestiaire, where you can drop your bags and your jackets in lockers. It's completely free. So if you carry a heavy bag and you don't want to have anything on you inside. So there are 36,000 artworks on display in the Louvre. So don't feel bad if you don't see everything. Most important is to know beforehand what you want to see. What I like to show in Mesopotamia are these clay tablets, which are the invention of writing. So if you look at the first one, for instance, you see drawings with dots. The dots are units. And basically, writing was invented as a means of accounting at first. And then you have right here the first alphabet ever invented.
Very cool.
This writing here is basically the tale of these battles. And that's how we enter from prehistory to history. So now we are going to the Code of Hammurabi, which is one of the
Code of what?
Hammurabi.
Okay, I knew that.
It's one of the oldest code of law ever written.
Okay.
And it's one of the most precious items we have from Mesopotamia. So typically in the Code of Hammurabi, you have the first mention of the law of the talion, which is eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Voilà. So this stone is from 1750 BC.
Yeah.
And it comes from the city of Babylon. You can see the king Hammurabi on the left.
Yeah.
And the sun god Shamash on the right, handing him a scepter for power and a circle for justice. And on that stone, you have about 280 laws that regulate society.
And one of them is an eye for an eye.
Exactly. So right now, we're going to see the remains of an ancient palace from 700 BC.
Really?
Yes.
I did not know that was here.
It's one of the largest collections we have. And are you ready to be amazed?
I am absolutely ready to be amazed.
All right, let's go.
Show me. Look at that. Wow. I'm seeing more stories in the stone over here.
Yes, so you have these beautiful statues that are called lamassu. So they're meant to protect the palace and to represent the best of the world, which is humans with the head, the bull with the body, and the eagle's wing. And then you have this man holding, you know what he's holding?
A lion.
A lion, exactly. So fighting lions was a proof that you were strong in Mesopotamia. It was the kings that would go on lion hunts.
Because you took over the king of the jungle.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you can see that he's holding the lion like it's a kitten, and that's because in the mythology, this man is supposed to be the strongest man in the world.
What's his name?
Gilgamesh.
Oh, this is Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
Cool.
So now we're still going through time, and
Okay.
we're going to see some Persian mosaic.
And I get to walk through this thing. Like the queen.
See, the Louvre tries to throw you off sometimes. You have all these ancient items, and then you have this, which is modern art. It's from 2013.
That is the oldest statue.
So this statue is from 7000 BC.
So this is 9,000 years old.
Yes, and you know, sometimes we have a hard time imagining what's Stone Age, Iron Age, all the different ages.
Right.
But you can see it clearly here, like this is before the Stone Age. It's really simple creation. You have hay underneath for the structure, but if you compare it to the huge statue we've seen afterwards, you can see that technology-wise, people have improved over time.
Yeah.
And this is before writing, so we have no information about it. We don't know what it means, what it represents.
And it's kind of flat, and you say it's hay inside.
There's
So it's
hay
covering.
inside. Yes.
It's basically mud that's sculpted or
Exactly.
stone. It's more mud.
It's more of a mud.
Yeah, more of a mud type of structure.
Next, we're going to see the history of the Louvre this time. So we are out of Richelieu,
Yeah.
and we will see the medieval part of the Louvre.
Medieval, and which direction are we going?
This way.
Okay, so what's important in the Louvre not to get lost is the ground floor, basically where we were, does not interconnect. You have to go the floor above or the floor below to go to a different building. This is where people get lost. So right now we're going underneath to get to the other building. So now we're entering Sully,
Sully. Ouais.
and we were in Richelieu.
Richelieu, Sully, and then Denon.
Fair game.
This is a great video that explains you how the Louvre was built over 800 years. For me, you have three main periods to remember. It started as a fortress in the 1200s, became a palace in the 1500s, and then it has been a museum since 1793.
1783.
93.
93.
So
after the revolution.
Exactly. When we executed the
Got
king,
it.
we seized his palace and his art.
We were in the Richelieu building. We were right here. So we're going to spend some time here, and now we're going to go here.
Exactly.
This is the original Louvre.
Voilà.
This is the fort, right?
These are the remains of the moats.
So we found this in 1984.
Yes.
We did not know that was there.
Alors, we knew there was a fortress before, but
Yeah.
we didn't know that the underground part had been kept, because usually the stones were reused as you dismantle fortresses to build
Right.
walls or make bridges.
Right.
And in this case, this was just forgotten because it was buried. So next, we're going to the Greek-style statues, which
Okay.
are right above.
Okay.
And specifically, we will see the Venus de Milo.
Oh, cool. Right here, coming out of the fort, we're at the corner of Greeks and Egyptians. So if you get to the Sphinx and you want to see the Venus de Milo, go right. All of these statues are amazing, and all of these are Greek, huh?
They're all Greek style. They're actually copies made by the Romans. So they're still 2,000 years old, but the Venus, for instance, is a Greek original, and it's slightly older. You have a Venus right here. We know it's her. She has both of her arms. She looks great. You have another one on the right. You have two heads over here. And yet everybody knows only the one at the back, which is the Venus de Milo, that doesn't have arms. And that's for the reason I just told you, which is she's a Greek original, so she's from 120 BC, and the others are Roman copies. And so for archaeologists, for historians, it's much more valuable to have a Greek original. The best way to enjoy the Venus is to look at her from what we call a three-quarter.
Okay.
And that's to step on the left side.
Okay.
And as you turn, you can see that she transforms.
She just woke up.
And that there's movement in her body, which you couldn't necessarily see from the front. And it's almost not the same statue.
No, it looks very different. That's so funny. Where are you taking us next?
Next, we're going to see the Winged Victory of Samothrace.
Ooh, I like that one.
Which is the other Greek original we have.
I would not want to wander through this crowd alone trying to figure it out. Like, oh my God. He was just telling me this is the apartments of Marie-Thérèse.
The wife of Louis XIV. Voilà,
Right
there she is.
So tell me, why is this one, I mean, it's beautiful and I love it because it's beautiful, but why is it famous?
It's another Greek original.
Okay.
And to rebuild it took a lot of work because it was broken in more than 100 pieces.
This one is just like the Venus de Milo. You got to see it from the right angle.
As you can see the wind blowing.
That's amazing. If you'd like to have a guide like Walid take you through the Louvre or Versailles, we put together a page on our website where you can find all of the details and prices for how you can book those. There's a link in the description below. Check it out and see if it's for you.
We are right now in front of La Galerie d'Apollon.
This is in the Denon building.
This is in the Denon building, exactly.
Okay.
Alors, it's a room that was built right before Versailles by the King Louis XIV. There was a fire in the Louvre in 1661, and as he rebuilt it, he loved the new style so much that he said, you know what, I've seen enough, let's stop it and let's build a building in the same style, and that's the Versailles Palace.
Okay.
So if you don't have time to go to Versailles, that's also another great way to see a bit the style of Versailles. Always remember, when you walk around the Louvre, look up at the ceiling, look up at the details, because that's also part of the experience. And that's why it's not just a museum.
This looks like the ceilings in Versailles.
It does, it does.
Wow.
You have in here the jewels of the crown in these three casings. Everything is real except for the stones on the first crown.
Okay.
But everything else is real. And even though some pieces, they don't look as shiny as modern diamonds.
It's because of the cut?
It's because of the cut, exactly.
Okay. That's amazing. It's a 3D fleur-de-lis on top in crystals or diamond. And that looks like a fine silk woven hat inside the crown. And this is for the ladies.
So in here you have the crown of Josephine. This is around the time period of Napoleon. So Josephine is Napoleon's wife.
Who did these paintings?
Alors, some of them have been added later, and typically the one in the middle is by Delacroix.
Oh, okay.
So it's much more recent.
contemporary.
Yes. So next we're going to see the Renaissance paintings and the most famous one, the Mona Lisa.
The Mona Lisa. We're going to go see Mona Lisa this way.
So a quick tip.
Yeah.
In order to get rude in France and to cut through, you just say pardon and then you push people.
Pardon means I'm about to push you.
Exactly. Alors this is La Grande Galerie and it's always very crowded.
So what's the best time to come to the Louvre? Honestly, give me the truth.
Honestly, for me, the best would be to come in February.
February?
Yes, February
Okay.
when
At 9 o'clock
at 9 o'clock.
on a Thursday morning.
Exactly, you got it.
Is this Mona Lisa? Yeah, I recognize
Yes, that's the room.
There it is.
The Mona Lisa is obviously the most famous painting in the world. It doesn't really make sense
It doesn't make sense.
because if you compare it to other paintings, it's not that unique, that special.
Yeah.
I mean, we all love Da Vinci, but
Is it because it was stolen?
exactly, that's because it was stolen.
Yeah, it was because it was stolen. It was stolen because it actually is the smallest painting that the thief could actually take.
Yes,
And the reason why he picked the Mona Lisa is not because it was the Mona Lisa, it's because it was small.
exactly.
And then when it came back in the Louvre, then everybody wanted to see the painting that was stolen. And then it became famous. And that was in 1913, right?
Exactly. You could become a guide.
I could become a guide on this one. You know, one of the things I'm going to say about this room, which I think is really funny, is that you have the most famous painting right here, which is the Mona Lisa. Everybody wants to see that. And you have a mass of people getting together, like shoulder to shoulder, to try to take this thing. Where you have on the other side, you got to turn around, Colleen, and on this wall, I believe this is the largest painting
In the Louvre.
In the Louvre. This is the largest painting. So you have probably the smallest in front of the largest. And I gotta say that this one is far more impressive than the Mona Lisa, isn't it? All right, so where are we going next?
So next we're going to see the French paintings from the 1800s.
Yes.
And that's to kind of conclude the tour. So you see we've done something chronological.
Yeah.
And we'll see the coronation of Napoleon and La Liberté guidant le peuple.
Yes, and they've just renovated it, didn't
Exactly.
they? Let's go see it. I'll follow you.
Allez.
So this is the, we actually just saw the Napoleon series. So, but the French don't like the Napoleon movie because it's not they had the same thing with Versailles. They're like, it's played by an Englishman. And I'm like, well, yeah, but you know what? It's
But it's also because there are two sides of Napoleon. There's the kind of authoritative Napoleon that led a lot of men into death and that was cruel, and that also reinstated slavery. And then there's the Napoleon who was a revolutionary, who was a reformator, which is more the one we know in France. And so the British tend to depict him in a very mean way, and the French in a very nice way. And Ridley Scott is British.
It's a controversial character, for sure.
So you have a replica of this painting in Versailles.
Oh, okay.
Because the painter made it twice. Because once this got famous, some people wanted to buy a copy from him. So he made it twice. How do you know which one is the original? Well, on the first one, he made a mistake and covered it up because he changed his mind. And now, with time, we can see that mistake coming through the varnish again.
Oh, okay. Which one is the fake one?
So this one is the real one, and let me show you the mistake.
Okay.
It's very subtle.
Okay.
So he actually changed Napoleon's position. Napoleon was originally slightly more in the back, just so slightly. And so if you look at Napoleon's head, right behind him on the marble, on the brown part, you have a shadow, and that's his head that you can see a little bit.
Oh, I can see it. So he was further back.
He was further back, and then he changed his mind.
So it's kind of like blended in.
Yes.
In the painting, and unless you spot it, you don't know that.
Voilà. But because when you paint something this large, if you have to start over, you're not going to start on a new canvas again.
Right.
So what are we going to see next?
So finally, we have to go see the Liberty Guiding the People.
Aha! It's so bright. I can see it like a beacon across the room. So they just restored this painting and put it back here this week. And you can see, like, if you look at all of the other paintings, they're not nearly as vibrant as this one.
So this painting is iconic because any child that has been to school has seen it in the textbooks. Okay. Whenever we mention the revolution, we mention the Liberty Guiding the People.
So this is the French version of George Washington crossing the Delaware.
I trust you on that. Basically, the main character of this scene is Liberty herself.
Okay.
And she became so famous, so popular, that painting at the time, so we are talking about 1830, that she became a symbol of the Republic that we call Marianne. Okay. She's on every coins and on every official document, like the guiding license, you can see her on the top. See?
You know, I learned about this when I went through all of my paperwork to get my long-term visa.
About Marianne and about what she represents.
What are the top iconic things and symbols of France? And it wasn't the Eiffel Tower, but Marianne was one of them.
And if you get married in a French city hall, you'll get married in front of her, a statue of her.
We did that. We got married in front of her many years ago.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of names across the top of this room. Why?
So this room was built under Napoleon III, and the Louvre was already a museum. So it was purposefully built to be a museum.
Okay.
And so the names are artists that are being celebrated. And you know that this was built by one of the two Napoleons, so Napoleon I or Napoleon III, because the emblem of France as an animal is normally a rooster, but they didn't like it and they changed it to the eagle.
So if you see the eagle, it's Napoleon.
Exactly.
And if you see the coq français, it's anyone other than Napoleon.
Exactly.
I can't believe that we went through the Richelieu, the Sully, and the Denon buildings, and we saw all of the things that we saw, and it's just 2 hours.
As long as you know where to go, you can do it, and that's why we're here to help people navigate the museum and also give them context about the artwork. We can do longer tours, of course, but I usually feel like 2 hours enough. It's a lot of information to take in, and I leave people after. I tell them, well, you can stay in the museum, you can enjoy a pastry, take a break, and either carry on or exit and do, for instance, the Tuileries Gardens right outside, which have some of the statues, the copies, of course, that are in here. So it's a prolongation of visiting the Louvre.
I have no idea where we are.
If you look at the little sign, the pyramid is this way.
Sortie.
In this video, we showed you how to visit the Louvre in under 3 hours. And next, I would watch this video on how long it takes to visit the other attractions so you can build the right itinerary for you.